Greetings. This is English news broadcast live from the ERi-TV headquarters in Asmara. It's 10:30 p.m. Saturday, the 11th of December. I'm the reporter Mira with your daily updates, and here's a rundown of the top stories for tonight's news segment. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. Universal Human Rights Day observance. Blast rocks Palestinian camp causes casualties. U.S. imposes sweeping sanctions on China, Myanmar, and North Korea. And now we proceed to the details for the local news. We have an announcement from the Ministry of Health. 13 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers and testing stations in the central and Ansaba regions. Out of these, 8 patients are from quarantine centers 4 and testing stations 4 in Asmara Central Region. 5 patients are from testing stations in Haggas 2, Elaborate 1, Aditekelezan 1, and Hamil Malo 1, Ansaba Region. On the other hand, 35 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the Southern Region 28 and Central Region 7 have fully recovered and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 7,404, while the number of deaths stands at 63. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 7,629. Ministry of Health, Asmara, December 11, 2021. 73rd anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was observed on the 10th of December in the presence of senior government and PFDJ officials as well as heads of UN offices in Eritrea and members of the diplomatic corps. In his keynote speech at the occasion, Mr. Saleh Usman, Minister of Foreign Affairs, said that adoption of the human rights document is a clear reminder and an indication of the collective nature of the responsibility to protect, respect, and fulfill the ideals and principles of the declaration. Minister Saleh Usman went on to say that such noble ideals could not be achieved with criticism, naming, and shaming, but with partnership and cooperation, and should not be traded for narrow geopolitical interests and use them for intervention in the internal affairs of sovereign states. Highlighting the continued irresponsible use of unilateral sanction by the USA against Eritrea, Minister Saleh Usman said that it is evident that unilateral sanction imposed on states and their instrumentalities, including high-ranking officials, is basic violation of the fundamental principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, self-determination, and respect for the independent exercise of sovereign states to freely determine their own form of economic, political, cultural, and social development. Acknowledging and commending the active engagement of Eritrea and the Human Rights Council, Ms. Amakobi Sunday, UN Resident Coordinator in Eritrea, said that every member state of the United Nations has underscored the relevance of the declaration in their fight for the universal values of human dignity, freedom, justice, and democracy. Ms. Amakobi Sunday went on to say that Eritrea has accepted most of the recommendations regarding human rights and that Eritrea's progress in the area of group rights and social protection are commendable. At the event, a video message of the General Secretary of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, was presented. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is being observed for the 73rd time. The Eritrean police organized a training on computer technology, computer maintenance, and networking to 16 members, including 6 females. At the graduation ceremony conducted yesterday, December 9, Mr. Abraham Bito, trainer, stated that the objective of the 3 months theoretical and practical training was fundamental in empowering the trainees. In a briefing presented, Lieutenant Colonel Mengstab Tesfaye on his part said that on top of the computer technology courses, the training included basic printer and photocopier maintenance and servicing. Finally, Colonel Berahi Haile, Chief of Crime Prevention Unit, and Lieutenant Colonel Debesai Takhlu, Head of Services Branch, handed over certificates to the trainees. As part of the Law Week, the Ministry of Justice organized a tree planting program has been conducted today at Maidimnet area Central Region. At the greening program, in which 150 members of the Ministry of Justice participated, several holes for tree planting were dug, terraces were constructed, and cultivation of trees planted last summer was conducted. Speaking to ERi, Mr. Awatolde, coordinator of the greening program, said that the program was organized with the view to reinforce the greening program that was initiated last July nationwide, indicating that the tree planting activity the members of the Ministry of Justice conducted was in continuation to the water and soil conservation activity members of 17 institutions, companies, and national organizations conducted last summer. The head of Forest and Wildlife Authority in the Central Region, Mr. Abraham Takhlu, on his part said that 90% of the tree seedlings planted in over 38 hectares of land are in good condition. Stay with us, for we will be right back with the international news after this short break. Welcome back. A large explosion has rocked a Palestinian camp in the southern Lebanese port city of Tyre, causing a number of casualties. The explosion took place late yesterday at a suspected Hamas weapons depot in the Burj al-Shamali camp. The state-run national news agency reported an unspecified number of deaths, but local media and civil defense workers on the scene said there had been no fatalities. A security source also told Reuters that fatalities had not been recorded. Hamas said in a statement made today that the blast was caused by an electrical fault in a warehouse containing oxygen and gas cylinders for coronavirus patients, as well as detergents and disinfectants. The fire damaged some property, but losses were limited, the group said. It did not provide information on the number of deaths and injuries. Hamas, the group that runs the besieged Gaza Strip, maintains a presence in a number of Palestinian camps in Lebanon. The United States has imposed extensive human rights-related sanctions on dozens of people and entities tied to China, Myanmar, North Korea, and Bangladesh, and added a Chinese artificial intelligence company to an investment blacklist. Canada and the United Kingdom joined the United States in imposing sanctions related to human rights abuses in Myanmar, while Washington also imposed the first new sanctions on North Korea under President Joe Biden's administration and targeted Myanmar military entities, among others, in action marking Human Rights Day. The measures are the latest in a raft of sanctions timed to coincide with Biden's two-day virtual summit for democracy, where he announced initiatives to bolster democracy around the world and support for pro-democracy legislation in the United States. The Treasury on Friday added Chinese artificial intelligence company SenseTime to a list of Chinese military-industrial complex companies, accusing it of having developed facial recognition programs that can determine a target's ethnicity with a particular focus on identifying ethnic Uyghurs. Tornadoes are wreaking havoc across several U.S. states, with workers trapped in an Amazon warehouse in Illinois. More than 100 people were inside a candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky, when the tornado hit. The governor of the U.S. state of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, said the figure could rise to as many as 100 in what he called the worst tornadoes in the state's history. A state of emergency has been announced in Kentucky. Police said the tornado caused significant damage across the western parts of the state. In Arkansas, Arkansas, one person died and 20 people were trapped inside a nursing home after it partly collapsed, Craighead County Judge Marvin Day told the Associated Press. The building was cleared around 90 minutes later, but searches are still continuing, he said, adding that some residents had been hiding in the basement as the tornado approached. The U.S. National Weather Service has issued tornado warnings for areas in states including Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, and Illinois. Following is a recap of tonight's major headlines. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. Universal Human Rights Day observed. Blast rocks Palestinian camp causes casualties. U.S. imposes sweeping sanctions on China, Myanmar, and North Korea. That's all from us for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.